get it.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the SchuZ Show. I hope you guys are having a phenomenal Friday, and hopefully you guys are excited for the day that has been talked about for the past 6 months. You know, today's show is going to be dedicated to what is going to be one of the best fight days that we have seen, possibly not just this year, but maybe this entire decade. What's going to happen over the duration of the next 24 hours is going to be one of the most spectacular days of boxing, adding combat sports, if you will, if you're going to watch UFC Noche, which will be going down in the afternoon tomorrow, that we have seen a long time. July 19th was special. Cinco de Mayo weekend was phenomenal. But what we're going to witness over the duration of the 24 hours time span is going to be unlike something we have seen in boxing and combat sports in quite some time. So I'm going to be breaking down all the fights that are going down over the duration of the next 24 hours over the show. I know it's going to probably be a pretty lengthy show today, but if you guys have any topics or questions for me to address on the show, I want to keep the chat active tonight. I'll have you guys' comments pop up. I want to know you guys' thoughts, your predictions, your opinions on who's going to be winning Canelo versus Crawford, as well as the fights going down on the undercard. Also, who's going to be winning Naoya Inoue versus MJ, and Paddy, Donovan, Lewis, Crocker. So, lots of stuff going down. Leave your comments in the chat, and we will be addressing them throughout the duration of tonight's show. So let's have a great show tonight. It will be a lot to uncover. But before I get into all the fight previews, I'm just going to go rattle off a couple of boxing news things that came out over the past 24 hours, just to get that off the table so we can just focus in on what we're going to experience over the next 24 hours. Let's hop into it. AJAGBA has rejected Frank Sanchez's rematch in IBF Eliminator. Remember, earlier this week, AJAGBA, he originally was scheduled to fight Frank Sanchez in a fight for a final eliminator for the IBF. After a $302,000 purse bid won by Samson Lewowski, the IBF will now move down its rankings to find another opponent for Sanchez. Interesting situation here. Obviously, if you're AJAGBA, that fight was not very lucrative, considering the fact that you just fought on a Riyadh season card where you fought Martin Bakoli. So it makes a lot of sense here. Now, he's not going to go for an IBF eliminator, but I think it's fine. He's going to be in it for the money. It is what it is. They'll figure that out. Also, I talked about the fight for Junto Nakatani that will be going down on June 27th. Well, who he's going to be fighting has now been announced. He will face the unbeaten Mexican Sebastian Hernandez Reyes on December 27th. All right. He is ranked number 9 by Ring Magazine and defeated Azat earlier this year. This card, and I'm just going to let you guys know, it's not officially announced yet. The belief that is when it gets announced, I think Turkey Al-Sheikh is waiting for Naoya in a way to officially get past MJ, upcoming now in the next 24 or whatever it is, 36 hours out from now. Once Inoue takes care of business against MJ, whoops, kind of surprised and spoiled my prediction there. But once that happens, we are going to possibly get announced what will probably be one of the most entertaining cards of the entire year. A Japan versus Mexico fight card. And why is it entertaining? Well, you take the two most entertaining brands of boxing, fighting styles in all the world, Mexico, Japan, and you're going to put them into a ring, and you'll be having a competition between the two nations fighting each other on December 27th, a little bit of a late Christmas present right there. That will be a phenomenal card. It's going to be headlined by Naoya Inoue and David Pascasio. Then Junto Nakatani, Sebastian Hernandez Reyes, and this list should go on. It should be a stacked, fun card going down right after Christmas. So I will keep you guys posted on that. I do think we will have an announcement on that card probably within the next 10 to 14 days, just depending on once Inoue officially moves past MJ, and then we get that card announced. But with that being said, it's the only boxing news in store for us today. What we will now be getting into is a fight preview of everything going down on this weekend. How else can I start off this other than by discussing the big one? Canelo Alvarez, Terence Crawford. Before I go any further, let me know you guys' thoughts. Who do you guys have winning in the chat? I want to know who you guys have winning the big fight tomorrow. But this has been a fight. For those of you, let me just say this before I go into depth on this fight. For those of you that are new to the show, I'm always somebody pretty big on not making a prediction up until the Friday or the day before when I make a prediction of my fights. And this one has been difficult. Let me take you guys behind the scenes. When this fight first got announced, immediately in my mind, I said Canelo Alvarez is going to win this fight with ease. Terence Crawford is essentially moving up 3 weight classes in this fight. Not a very easy task to do. And when you talk about Canelo Alvarez, no, he is not prime Canelo Alvarez, nor is he the best fighter in boxing, in which he once was anymore. That does not mean Canelo is not good anymore. He's still a top 10 fighter in all the world. He's just not that guy. Number one, age has caught up to him, as well as just the amount of fights he's got in. He's taking a lot of toll on his body. But I still had Canelo Alvarez with ease winning this fight. As time progressed and I started to really process this, I started hearing more and more guests, whether that be boxers, that be trainers, whatever it is, break down their fights as to why they believe either Canelo or Bud would win the fight. My mind starts to turn a little bit. And I start to almost feel like, you know what? Terence Bud Crawford might have the edge in this fight. Now, it would be a very slight edge, but Terence Bud Crawford would have it. And that leads me to today, where I will be making this prediction. Well, both guys did weigh in at 167.5 pounds. This is the heaviest that Terence Bud Crawford has ever weighed in at in his entire career, obviously. And then on top of that, for Canelo Alvarez, we know the man, 63, 2-2 with 39 knockouts. He'll be defending his 168-pound undisputed world championships against Terence Bud Crawford, who has never lost in his life, with a 41-0 record, 31 knockouts. Also, to add into that, Terence Bud Crawford has never really even come close to losing a single fight. He is moving up 2 weight classes on paper after winning against Israel Madrimov over a year ago, back in August 3rd of 2024. Now, the odds have Canelo Alvarez winning this fight, but here's the interesting news. I've been tracking and been looking at some of the Vegas odds currently going down right now in terms of betting. And over the duration since the weigh-ins happened, there has been an influx, a massive influx, I should add, of guys favoring Terence Bud Crawford. So much so to say this, there have been many, and I'm saying many, bets ranging between $500,000 up to and over $1 million entering in for Terence Bud Crawford over the duration of the past 2 hours. Since the ceremonial weigh-ins, massive amounts of money has been going towards Terence Bud Crawford. And I'll just say this, I'll never understand the betting world. I don't understand always all those different aspects there. But what I do know is this. A lot of people seem to be seeing something that I'm seeing a little bit, and some others are seeing as well, that there is a legitimate chance for Terence Bud Crawford to pull off what might just go down as one of the greatest wins in the history of boxing. It will go down, if he wins this fight, as a top 10 and possibly even, according to a lot of people, this could be a top 5, maybe top 3 victory that we have seen in the history of boxing. That is what we possibly have in store for us tomorrow night. A little bit of background on these guys, though. For Canelo, 4-division champion, fighting in Las Vegas for the 20th time, coming off of a decision win against William School in what was a pathetic fight there on Cinco de Mayo weekend. For Terence Bud Crawford, he's been undisputed at 140. He has been undisputed at 147. Already, he is the first and the only man to be undisputed at 2 weight classes in the 4-belt era. On top of that, not only does he want to be the only man to ever do it in 2 weight classes, winning tomorrow night would make him a 3-division undisputed world champion and would essentially make him the greatest fighter of this entire generation. On top of that, we know Canelo Alvarez. He has that Mexican style. This is a man that fights with pressure, elite body puncher, one of the greatest chins that we have ever seen in the history of boxing. He has never been dropped in his entire career. He has never been seriously hurt in his entire career. This is a man that has absolutely phenomenal chin. As for Terence Bud Crawford, one of the greatest switch hitters in the history of boxing, a surgical counterman, elite timing, ring IQ. He's one of the most brilliant fighters we've ever seen step foot in the ring. For Terence Bud Crawford, the big storyline is this. Jumping up from welterweight to super middleweight is bold enough. This is one of the greatest jump ups we have seen. Now, we have seen it before. Some great guys want to go out there and challenge themselves, and this is what we were witnessing, potentially now, with Terence Bud Crawford. But he has also never been dropped, and he has incredible instincts. But here's the other thing. Canelo Alvarez has not stopped anybody since the year 2021 when he stopped Caleb Plant in the 11th round of a fight. We can all look at him, and it is obvious. He is not prime Canelo Alvarez any longer. That man has come and gone. But Canelo Alvarez is still an elite fighter. And in one other aspect here, as I've talked about, neither man, Canelo Alvarez nor Bud Crawford, has ever been dropped in their entire careers. Here's to give you guys a little bit more data as to how insane that stat is right here. Between Canelo Alvarez and Terence Bud Crawford, they have fought for over 800 rounds of boxing, for nearly 800 rounds of boxing, and that includes over 108 matches between the two guys. Neither man has ever been knocked down in their entire careers. Do you realize that? This is how elite these two guys are. In a brutal sport, one of the most brutal sports, if not the most brutal sport in all the world. A sport in which guys get dropped left and right. Even some of the greatest fighters that we see have been dropped. Canelo Alvarez and Bud Crawford have never experienced what the feeling is to be dropped to the canvas in a professional fight. Over nearly 800 rounds, 108 matches, neither man has ever touched the canvas. That right there is remarkable. Could that change tomorrow night? Very possibly. And that is what is at stake for tomorrow night. And here is the situation that I will now give you guys. And I said, I want to know you guys' thoughts in the chat. Who do you guys have winning the fight? I'll be giving you guys my thoughts. This is tough. If I'm going to be honest with you and give you guys the polite answer here, I would say this is a legitimate 50-50 fight between Canelo Alvarez and Terence Crawford. That is where I stand today. No shots at Canelo Alvarez. This is a top 10 fighter in all the world. This man knows what it's like to fight at 168. And if I'm just going to utilize my brain 100% right now, the obvious thing, the easy, safe bet to make is going with Canelo Alvarez to win this fight. He still is elite. He still is one of the top 10 fighters in the world. He is going to have some form of a size advantage in the ring. And on top of that, he knows how to move with this weight. For Terence Crawford, he does not know how to fight at this level, this stage. He's never been in the ring with a man like Canelo Alvarez because, yes, Errol Spence was great. He's not Canelo Alvarez, but Canelo Alvarez has his size. He knows what he's going to fight like. Terence Crawford does not know what it's going to feel like carrying this much weight deep into the rounds. That's a concerning aspect. Bud Crawford is a man with elite skill, elite IQ, great speed, all these different aspects. How does that weight added onto him carry over into these later rounds of the fight? That will be one of the most interesting things that we're going to see tomorrow night because I don't think somebody's going to get knocked down or knocked out quickly in this fight. This is going to be a fight that I do see going the distance. I don't see either man going out there with a knockout. And that's what's interesting. And that is why, when I look at these situations right now, I look at how talented Terence Crawford is. And yes, I question and I do not know how he's going to hold up in the later rounds. But what I do believe is that Canelo Alvarez's footwork has declined. It is not exactly to where it once was. And that is why, albeit very, very slight, and I mean this is something where I am not confident in this at all. I will not put a single penny on this fight right now. But if I were to make a prediction, as I must do right now, I'm going to say that I believe Terence Crawford will win by decision tomorrow night against Canelo Alvarez and pull off what will go down as one of the top 10 greatest fights and wins in the history of boxing. As I said, no, this is not something that I'm confident in. I could very easily see Canelo Alvarez winning this fight. The easy answer to give is Canelo Alvarez, but let's spice it up a little bit tonight. Based upon what I saw against Williams School, based upon what I know about Terence Crawford, and where Canelo Alvarez is at today, where he could beat nearly any fighter in the world. Anybody at 168 he is defeating. Anybody at 160 I still think he defeats. But Terence Crawford is still debatably the number one pound-for-pound fighter in all the world. This man still is extremely skilled. He has taken a lot less damage throughout his career. And this is a man that I do believe has the mindset and the ability and the hunger that is going to push him through those later rounds. His body might not be there 100%, but this man is taking this fight. Remember, Canelo Alvarez did not need to take this fight, and that's why I have tremendous respect for this man. But here's what's interesting. Canelo Alvarez had to get paid massive money. The number is not officialized yet, but it is believed that Canelo Alvarez, win, lose, or draw tomorrow, will be walking away with somewhere in the range of $150 to $200 million just to step foot in the ring tomorrow night. That does not include possibly winning any purses, endorsements, or anything along those lines. There is a good chance that Canelo Alvarez walks away tomorrow night with $250 million richer. That is insane. For Bud Crawford, he's making significantly less money than that. Now, don't get me wrong, this still is career earning payday for him, but he's earning a lot less. And that is why I must add this. Terence Crawford wants this fight with everything he's got. There is a hunger to prove people wrong. There is a hunger to prove how great he is. And I think that we could very likely see tomorrow night one of the greatest upsets in the history of boxing go down tomorrow night at Allegiant Stadium in Las Vegas. That is what I have, but I want to hear you guys' thoughts. Let me know in the chat who you guys do have winning this fight tomorrow night. Let's go to the co-main event now. Callum Walsh versus Fernando Vargas Jr. Junior middleweight fight between the Irish prospect who is 14-0 with 11 KOs against Fernando Vargas, who is 17-0 with 15 KOs, a battle of unbeaten 154 men. Callum Walsh is the heavy favorite in this fight, and here's what's interesting. I'm somebody that likes to watch pretty much any boxing that is somewhat televised. I'll find a way to access it, and I will watch it. I like Callum Walsh. I've been very outspoken about him. I like what he brings to the table. He is a good fighter. This is a man that's been built up by Dana White's Zuffa Boxing Centerpiece. He's ranked top 5 by the IBF, the WBC. He is a tremendous fighter. But Callum Walsh has not been pushed by anybody yet. That's the big question mark. You know, we see him fighting Tom Loeffler's cards, and for Callum Walsh, this is a man that is good, but we've not seen him get tested yet. And you could question the way he's been built up. It's been very stagnant. It's not been against top-level competition. And now he fights Fernando Vargas. an undefeated man with knockout power who has extreme experience in regards to knowing what these big stages are like. His dad is Fernando Vargas. He's a son of a former champion. We know he has power, but he's untested at elite level as well. So this is a very interesting fight right here. If you're not familiar with them, Callum Walsh, great hands, excellent footwork, fights well at range. For Vargas Jr., he's a very heavy-handed fighter, strong in the pocket, but very slow on exits. Walsh wants to become world champion. He's on path for it. With a win tomorrow night, he would probably be 2 or 3 fights out from a world championship just because of how deep 154 is. And for Vargas Jr., this is a man that wants to prove himself tomorrow night. Who do I have winning this fight? I do have Callum Walsh coming away with victorious. But I knock out in between rounds 6 to 8, somewhere in that range. I see the Irishman coming out and pulling off a massive fight and a statement. And this will be huge for both guys, though. I think both guys have a future in the sport. Both guys will be on big stages in the future. I think tomorrow night, though, we're going to have an all-action war between these two guys. I think both of these guys are very solid fighters between these two men. And I think that they just deserve the stage they're going to get tomorrow night. Neither guy has ever received even a fraction. Now, nobody in this arena except for Canelo Alvarez has experienced the stage. But for these two guys, they've been in very small fights overall. This will be huge for them. I think both guys with the names will massively boost tomorrow. And for Callum Walsh, him getting a knockout on Fernando Vargas Jr. will skyrocket his name and possibly even elevate him quicker to a world championship shot. But yes, Callum Walsh, I have him winning the fight tomorrow night in the co-main event. Adam, let's see what you got right here. Salute, Zach. I got Crawford with a late round KO. All right. I'm all with that. I'll be honest. Seeing Canelo possibly get KO'd would be mind-boggling. Let me just add this real quickly. I don't think it's going to be a knockout by Crawford. I think it will go the distance. I could see that possibly happening. But if Terence Bud Crawford somehow managed to find a way to get a knockout of Canelo Alvarez tomorrow night, that would probably break the internet. It would break the internet. On top of that, Terence Bud Crawford doing that might be one of the top 3 greatest wins in the history of boxing. That's how insane that would be. Now, I'm not saying it's completely out of the question. I personally do think that Terence Bud Crawford will edge it out on the scorecards by decision. But let me just say that if there is a knockout, I do not know how the world will react to that. It would be one of the greatest wins in boxing, period. That would be insane. It's a great card all the way around, and I'm looking forward to it. Absolutely, man. I love this card. I think too many people have been bashing it for one reason or another. I hope people just enjoy it. Overall, enjoy this whole weekend. You have an incredible fight going down in the UK to start the day off. You have Terence Bud Crawford and Canelo Alvarez's card. And then if you want to stay up and you want to watch Inoue 3 a.m. my time, you got that card against him facing MJ. It should be a phenomenal weekend. Let's head over to this other fight. And personally, I think this should be the co-main event. I think, as excited as I am, obviously we'll never replace Bud and Canelo, but Mbilli versus Lester Martinez might just be the best fight on the card. It might just be it. I am so excited for this fight. This is for the interim WBC super middleweight title. The winner could very likely fight the winner of Canelo versus Bud Crawford. This is a fight that I'm probably one of the most excited for this weekend, and here's why. I have watched countless Lester Martinez fights. I have watched countless Christian Mbilli fights. Both guys, I am always fascinated by. I absolutely love watching these two guys. I think both guys are absolutely phenomenal. I think they're very entertaining, but for one reason or another, promotional reasons, whatever it might be, they have been unable to attract an audience. So many people around the world do not know who these two guys are, and it is a shame. So these two guys just getting this opportunity will do wonders for their careers, because both guys, win, lose, or draw tomorrow night, will be on big fights in the future. They will be competitive at the 168 weight class going forward, and I think a lot of people should be excited for them. So when I talk about these two guys right now, I'm ecstatic for this fight. I think it's going to be phenomenal. Christian Mbilli is 29-0, 24 knockouts. He's defending his interim WBC title belt against the Guatemalan slugger Lester Martinez, who is 19-0, 16 KOs, and a very high-stake card. The odds currently favor Christian Mbilli in this one. He's a French-Cameroonian pressure fighter, ranked top 3 in all the sanctioning bodies, while Martinez, he is Terence Bud Crawford's training or sparring partner. He's coming off of a massive KO against Joshua James earlier this year. Mbilli, relentless volume, body attack, proven engine over 12 rounds. His most recent fight came a couple months ago back when he had a devastating round 1 knockout to end that fight. That was insane. For Lester Martinez, he is a very patient but power puncher, very strong chin, and he is dangerous with the counters. The winner could very likely be elevated to WBC champion. Later on, they could very well go for a world championship against the winner, Bud Crawford, Canelo Alvarez. And both men are unbeaten with highlight reel KOs. Who do I have in this fight? this is so tough. This is one where I don't think it's going to go to decision. I would be absolutely shocked to see this one go to decision, and here's why. These two men have massive KO percentages. For Martinez, 16 of his 19 to come by way of KO. For Mbilli, 24 of 29. Both guys have never experienced a loss in their careers. Both guys are very entertaining fighters. It's going to be a slugfest. It is going to be very entertaining between these two guys, and that's why I will go with this, though. I think either guy can win this fight. I think it's 50-50. I think one man will be being put to bed tomorrow night. If I had to pick one, and this is tough, I'm not putting money on this fight, but if I had to go with somebody, I will go with Christian Mbilli. I think he has a little bit more experience against higher level competition. I think he's a little bit more acclimated and ready for the big moment. I think he has more experience underneath his belt. Lester Martinez has dealt with some health issues over this past year. And I just feel like, and this is such a small thing, if you take Lester Martinez, I see that point. Both guys can win this. But if I had to go here, I think his power, he's going to land a big shot. His pace durability should carry him through, and he's going to be able to get that finishing touch sometime between, let's call it round 7 to 10. I'll call it 7 to 10. Somewhere in that range, I think we could see Mbilli put Lester Martinez out of there. That's just my own personal opinion, though. Both guys, phenomenal fighters. This might just be the best fight of the weekend. Just going to point that out there. Another fight. Now, this is one that I'm shocked is not on the main card. And I get it. I know Turki Al-Sheikh wants to have a Saudi Arabia man go up and be on the main card. But Serhii Bohachuk, Brandon Adams, man, this is a main card type of fight. Two guys that are solid fighters, both ranked within the top 15 of their bodies at 154. Bohachuk only has 2 losses, one of which, in his very first one, was to Brandon Adams. But Bohachuk, one of the most entertaining fighters to watch, a power puncher, man that literally goes out there wanting to kill his opponent every single time. He has 24 of his wins have come by way of knockout. Against Brandon Adams, who is 25-4, 16 of his fights coming out by way of knockout. One of those knockouts was against Serhii Bohachuk, in which he lost debatably every single round in that fight, but had the miraculous KO and ended up stopping Serhii Bohachuk, giving his very first loss of his entire career. Bohachuk is the heavy favorite heading into this fight, and rightfully so. He has bounced back from those losses, repositioned himself. Obviously, his other loss came to Vergil Ortiz, a fight in which he dropped Vergil Ortiz twice, and you could very well make a case he should have won that fight. So I get it. Bohachuk's rebuilt himself. He's in a great position. WBC's number 1 contender. He's beat Brian Mendoza. He's beat Mikhail Fox. Good fighter. Brandon Adams, he's a former contender. Great counters, great grit. Most recently, he lost to Andreas Katsarakis, who was a very, very competitive fight on OTX last year, but that's that point. Bohachuk, we should know who he is. Extremely aggressive, heavy-handed, very much more improved defense than Emmanuel Bells. And then for Adams, though, great lateral movement, sharp counters, veteran savvy. Bohachuk, like I said, was ahead of the fight card. He was dominating Brandon Adams when they fought until Brandon Adams landed the miraculous KO, ended the fight. Adams says he's better now than ever before. He looks like he's in phenomenal shape. Honestly, everybody in this card looks like they're in phenomenal shape. But who am I going to predict in this fight? I have to go Serhii Bohachuk. This is a man that I said, yes, he got caught by Brandon Adams. And this is a sport of boxing. Guess what? It's the only sport in the world where you can erase a massive deficit in 1 second. Only sport you can do that in. Obviously, combat sport, I should say, because you can do that in the UFC or MMA and so on and so forth. But my point is this. Brandon Adams got lucky. He caught the man, did a miraculous job. Don't discredit the win, but he was down the scorecards massively. He was not beating Serhii Bohachuk in that fight. And Bohachuk's only gotten better. Bohachuk's only fought better competition. Bohachuk's gone the distance with the man of Vergil Ortiz, in which you could very well make the case he defeated Vergil Ortiz. This is a very, very talented man. Brandon Adams, while he's fought Andreas Katsarakis, a great fight right there, he has not fought somebody of this level in quite some time. Bohachuk's improved. Brandon Adams has been fine. I think he's about the same where he was beforehand. That is why I'm going to have to say this. I think Bohachuk will pull off the revenge. I think this will be a massive boost for his career because now he adds another win to the win column. He's going to have a late stoppage. He's smarter. He's wanting that revenge. And he knows that with the win here, he positions himself possibly for a world championship shot. So I will go with Serhii Bohachuk in this fight right here. But it should be a good one as well. Going back to the comments right now. Let me pull it up real quickly. We got something from Adam. 1 second, folks. All right, here we go. Adam makes a tweet right here. Mbilli versus Martinez would be a huge fight if it were a main event, but most people don't realize that. 100% agreement. For those that know boxing, and I know you know boxing, I feel like a lot of us are looking at this fight right now, and we are in a position where, hey, we look at this fight, and I think we all say this is a fight we want to watch. This would be a very good main event. Unfortunately, both guys just do not have the name that they probably deserve. And hopefully that all changes tomorrow night. And in fact, I think it will. We look back on just what happened when, Katie Taylor Serrano fought on the Mike Tyson, Jake Paul undercard. You had a lot of great fights on that card going down. And that one, obviously, the Ramos fight went down in that fight card as well against Mario Barrios. It boosts the name of guys. When you're on Netflix, the whole world's watching you. If you have a good, fun style to watch, they're going to want to pick up on that. They're going to want to watch it. And listen, I think that's what we're going to witness tomorrow night. I think these two guys will walk away winners, win, lose, or draw, because both guys will elevate their names tremendously. It's going to skyrocket. Big fights will be on the horizon for them. And listen, we all have to be looking at this. When we look at 168, we know Canelo Alvarez is on his final handful of fights left. Whether that be 2, 3, 4, 5 fights left, his days of reigning at 168 in boxing as a whole are coming to a conclusion. And then you have to look at, well, who is next? Both of these guys could become world champions. That's a fact. Whether the winner, lose, or draw, whatever happens in this fight tomorrow night, even though I favor Mbilli, the winner and loser of this fight could very well go on to become world champions post Canelo Alvarez era. That's just a fact. And so we do have to be looking at that. When we see some of these fun 168-pound fights, keep an eye on them because these guys can become future world champions. All right, let's get right back to it, though. With that being said, let's hop back into it now. Other fights going down on this card. I'm not going to break these down extensively, but other fights going on in the card. Reito Satsumi, massive favor against Javier Martinez. Super featherweight fight. Satsumi will win this fight. Obviously, one of the reigning up-and-coming stars in Japan boxing. Sultan Al-Ahmad, he's fighting Martin Caraballo. Light welterweight fight. Steven Nelson versus Reiko Santana. Light heavyweight fights. This is going to be a fun fight right here. Steven Nelson, obviously, he's a good fighter. We've seen him before. One of Terence Bud Crawford's closest friends. This is a fun guy. He always brings fun fights. That should be a fun fight to watch. Muhammad Al-Khalil fighting John Ornelas. Muhammad Al-Khalil is going to win the fight. And then this is a very interesting one. One to keep an eye on early in the fight card. Ivan Dincho versus Jermaine Franklin. This is a fight where both guys could win this fight. If you saw the weigh-ins today, if you've seen any of the face-offs, Dincho has a massive height advantage over Jermaine Franklin. But he's got some weight on him. Franklin is one of the guys. Now, I don't believe that any of these guys from America right now are going to do much damage at the heavyweight division in the future, but Franklin could do something. He's a possible guy. Not too high on him, but he's a possible guy. If he pulls off a win tomorrow against Ivan, which he is the underdog currently, that would do wonders for his career. It would boost his stock, and America would have somebody at least trending at the heavyweight division. So that is a fight to certainly keep an eye on for tomorrow night. All right, folks, let's head into this now. We're going to be heading into the fight card going down in the UK tomorrow. As I said, tomorrow has a loaded day of boxing. We're going to start the day off in the UK against Lewis Crocker, Paddy Donovan, IBF welterweight world title on the line. Here's the funny story about this fight. And I made a tweet about this this morning, last night, whatever it was. And I said this, and it's a fact. In what world do you have a fight in which one man, Paddy Donovan, dominated Lewis Crocker the entire fight, yet he fought very dirtily, and in the midst of that, guess what happened? He got disqualified. Since when have we ever seen a situation unfold like this, where a man gets disqualified in a fight, they get an immediate rematch because he was destroying Lewis Crocker, but in that return, you're going to make your return for a world championship. I don't recall a time we've seen something like this happen. It is a hilarious situation, but it happened just the way the puzzle pieces fell, with Boots Ennis moved to 154, vacating his belt. This is for a world championship fight. It's going to be massive. In front of a stadium fight, this will be a fun fight. Lewis Crocker, 21-0, 11 KOs, and Paddy Donovan, 14-1 with 11 KOs. They meet in a high-stakes rematch for the vacant IBF welterweight title at Windsor Park in Belfast. Their first bout ended in controversy with Donovan getting disqualified, leading on all scorecards. If you do not know what I'm talking about, Donovan had multiple point deductions leading up to the fight from headbutts, and then he decided to go and knock out Lewis Crocker about 3 or 4 seconds after the bell rang. Very dirty, should have been disqualified. Right decision there by everybody involved. However, he was dominating on the scorecards in that fight. Lewis Crocker, Belfast native, he's going to be fighting at home. He's unbeaten, but he's under fire after a disputed win. Known for his grit, power, and relentless pressure. For Paddy Donovan, he's a Limerick southpaw trained by Andy Lee. He boxed beautifully. And I mean beautifully. The performance he was having in the first fight was amazing, except for the dirty parts. And I know it's a confusing way of putting it, but that's what happened. Styles and strengths. Crocker's orthodox, heavy hands, thrives in close range exchanges. Where for Paddy Donovan, slick footwork. Also, he has sharp counters, elite timing, and fights well. This is going to be a situation where Crocker's going to be fighting in front of over 20,000 hometown fans, and he's going to want to silence the doubters. He wants to win a world title at his home and keep that belt there, where Donovan's out for redemption after the atrocity that he claims it was inside of the ring. The ref had it right, though. Let me make that very clear. Here's what I've got going down, though. Let me just put it bluntly. If Paddy Donovan can not fight dirty, and I hope that's not that hard of an ask, but if he can avoid fighting dirty and actually go out there and just stick to his game plan, not headbutt the whole dang fight, and definitely don't try knocking the man out after a bell rings, Paddy Donovan should become world champion within the next 13, 14 hours, whatever it is right now, and he should have that belt. And he's a good fighter. Lewis Crocker and Paddy Donovan, there is a night and day difference in terms of a skill set, bearing a miraculous transformation of Lewis Crocker. But Paddy Donovan's biggest thing is don't do dirty stuff. Just stay clean, don't be dirty, and go out there and fight the right way. If you do so, you will with ease have a late stoppage or win by decision, and you will be world champion at the 147-pound weight class. His movement, his accuracy should break Crocker down once again, and just do it without controversy. If it's that hard of an ask, I don't know what to say. Just do it clean, do not be dirty, and you will be world champion in about 14 or 15 hours. So just do your job tomorrow, Paddy Donovan. You will be world champion. Lewis Crocker, as I said, he's fine, a good fighter, but listen, he was getting outclassed in that fight. It was not competitive, and if you're going to go out there, and unless you made massive changes, I just don't see anything changing. It's only been a few months. He hopefully made massive improvements, and if so, he'll prove me wrong. But if it's anything like the first fight, Donovan by a mile on that one. What do we got here now? I'm pulling up another tweet we got right here in the chat from Adam again. I'm a big Jermaine Franklin fan, but I heard his opponent is 6'9". I'm mad at his manager for that. Yes. I'm not sure if you watched the ceremonial weigh-ins, or honestly did it too, on the press conference face-offs. The weight or the height difference is insane. Now, Franklin weighed in, I think it was at 258. I don't have it on my notes, but I think it was 258 pounds. And obviously, he's a big boy. He's a big size guy. But yeah, he was in quite the height disadvantage there. It's a fine fight, though. If he pulls off this win, this is a man that is quite respected. I know not a lot of people know Ivan, but he's respected. He's a solid heavyweight man. If he can pull off this win tomorrow night, it would do wonders for his career. And obviously, I think it's a very neck-and-neck fight right there. He's going to have to rely upon his size to win that fight, but we'll see what happens there. I do agree it was a little bit of a sketchy fight to manage here, put together by a manager, but if it does come to fruition, he can pull off the upset, it would do wonders for his career. All right, here's another one. This weekend just got so many great fights, but the co-main event, Ishmael Davis, Caoimhin, Agyarko, they will be going down super welterweight co-main event. I've had both these guys on the show at some point leading up to this fight, so you guys got to hear the opinions, the thoughts, and the predictions by both men. Obviously, both guys think they're going to win the fight, but Ishmael Davis, 13-2 with 6 KOs. He's taking on the undefeated Belfast technician, Caoimhin Agyarko, who's 17-07 KOs in a 12-round clash with world title implications. Here's the interesting story about this one. And let me just paint the picture for you guys real quickly. For this fight, this had a wild way of kind of being put together. I had to make sure my ACO is back on. This had a wild fight being put together. For Ishmael Davis, this is a man that has a 13-2 record I just talked about. However, Ishmael Davis, and he talked about this on the show, he is a man that will take literally any fight. Let me run it back for you guys. Ishmael Davis, on 2 days' notice, took on Josh Kelly and ended up losing that fight, but on 2 days' notice, he did that. Then he swings back around, and he fought Serhii Bohachuk back in December on the Tyson Fury-Alexander Usyk fight card, and he went 6 rounds with that man, but he took that fight on 10 days' notice. This man does not do proper training camps. We have not seen him in a proper training camp in quite some time. And so this is something to take account for. Yes, he has 2 losses, but both of those losses came against high-level competition. Both guys, one of which in Josh Kelly will be fighting for a world championship next. Serhii Bohachuk is in line for a world championship. 2 very good fighters he's fought against. Lost to both of them, but they both were on short notice. So don't take that record right there with too much slack in terms of losses. Those were valid losses right there. But what is different about this fight talked about was, he said, I'm not going to do that right now. I need to prepare for Caoimhin. I'm going to give myself an entire training camp to be ready. And that could be a scary sight because Ishmael Davis still was competitive in those 2 fights, even on short notice against top-level competition. And while I like Caoimhin Agyarko, he's not quite on the level of Serhii Bohachuk, just below him, I would say. For Akhmadaliev Agyarko, though, former amateur standout, recently returned from a majority decision win over Ryan Kelly. And that's where the story is interesting. Ishmael Davis was supposed to fight Ryan Kelly earlier in the year. Ishmael Davis had an injury, was unable to fight in that fight. So who steps in on short notice? Caoimhin Agyarko. Caoimhin has a massive performance in that fight, gets the win, but contractually involved in that deal, Caoimhin had to go out there and fight Ishmael Davis if he beat Ryan Kelly. He beat Ryan Kelly. Here we are today. So a lot of moving pieces made this fight. It's a cool story put together here, and I think it's exciting. For domestic fans, this fight will be phenomenal. Davis is a physical, unpredictable, switches stances, and puts pressure forward with intent. For Agyarko, orthodox, very clean technique, strong start movement, and fights with a disciplined jab. Here's what we're going to see here. Davis is the slight betting favorite as of tonight. He has much more experience against the high levels. Caoimhin Agyarko has not fought on this stage. Remember, 22,000 plus people will be in attendance in an outdoor stadium tomorrow in the UK. Agyarko will be putting on for the home crowd. This is his home crowd in his home nation, so that will be huge for himself. Both guys will be having a massive fight here. For Agyarko and Ishmael Davis, though, it comes down to a couple aspects. One of which is this. Is Agyarko able to keep the fight in his type of fighting style? I think the winner of this fight comes down to whose style will they fight. Ishmael Davis wants to go out there and brawl. He wants to keep it and get it a little bit dirty up in there, and he wants to fight that style. He likes to brawl. As for Caoimhin Agyarko, not quite his way. He's capable of it. We have seen glimpses of it, but he likes to fight a much more clean fight at a distance. He wants to do those type of techniques. This is going to be interesting. Can he utilize his jab to keep Ishmael Davis at bay and stay in a position like that? If he is capable of doing that, Caoimhin Agyarko will win by decision, in my opinion. If Ishmael Davis is able to get around the jab and make sure he turns this into a pressure fight or a brawl, this will be a fight where Ishmael Davis could pull off the upset for Caoimhin Agyarko. So something to definitely keep an eye on, though. I expect it to be a very tactical battle. I think Caoimhin Agyarko will pull it off by decision, although it's going to have some very fun rounds. I think Ishmael Davis will have rounds where he will clearly win the fight. It will clearly win the rounds. It'll be very definitive, high-paced, high-octane performances, and I do see that happening. But when you total up the 12 rounds at the end of the fight, I do see Caoimhin Agyarko coming out victorious, and if he does so, he will have the opportunity to either go to the world stage and start fighting for world championships or go out there and try to win more domestic titles. He'll have the option open to him, but that's what's in stake for him at this moment in time. Other fights on the card, up-and-coming young prospect Pat Brown. He will be making his return against Austin Namadi at the cruiserweight division. Then Tyrone McKenna. He's fighting Dylan Moran at a welterweight clash. Both those fights will be on the undercard there. And the final one that we will be going into in depth now on this show will be this. The Naoya Inoue versus MJ card. All right, I already talked about this yesterday, and I get it. A lot of people are bashing it. And I'll be honest, from a promotional standpoint, how do you have Naoya Inoue fighting on Facebook Live? It beats me. At the same time, am I going to sit up here and complain that I can watch Naoya Inoue for free? Absolutely not. So here's what we're going to talk about. This card is going to be sensational. Inoue versus MJ, undisputed junior featherweight championship, going down in Japan, the brand new stadium in the IG Arena. Brand opening for the situation. I'm excited to see. It's supposed to be a remarkable stadium going down in Japan. This will be the grand opening for it. Naoya Inoue, the monster. He has never lost. He is 30-0, 27 KOs, coming off of a knockout of Ramon Cardenas earlier this year. He defends his undisputed 122-pound crown against former unified champ MJ. 14-1, 11 knockouts in Japan. All right. I already gave you my prediction basically when this fight got announced. This was a fight that people said for way too long Inoue was ducking MJ. Eddie Hearn, yes, I'm talking about you. I love the dude. He does great thing for boxing. But my man, MJ was never being ducked by Naoya Inoue. Inoue has a game plan. He knew who he was going to fight when he was going to fight them. And for whatever reason, MJ was going to be scheduled for this month to happen. And guess what's going to happen tomorrow? Naoya Inoue will knock out MJ between rounds 7 and 9. Maybe even earlier. It could be a chess match early. I think they'll fill each other out for the first 2 or 3 rounds. And then Inoue is going to figure him out. And it's going to be destructive from that point going forward. He should be able to break down MJ mid-fight, finish him off between rounds 7 and 9. Yeah, I could give you guys a great description. MJ southpaw, compact power, Olympic pedigree, strong inside game. MJ says he has the whole package to beat him. MJ is a good fighter. But for MJ, he has never fought anybody near the level of Naoya Inoue. He's never set foot in a stadium like this. He's never been a part of anything along these lines. It's just going to be a rough night for him. everybody going out there and trying to say he ducked him and so on and so forth. Listen, he didn't duck, and Inoue didn't duck MJ, and he's going to prove that tomorrow night. He will remain undefeated. He will keep all of his belts, and guess what? For MJ, he will add a second loss to his resume, adding on to the loss he suffered by Marlon Tapales a couple years back when he was IBF and WBA world champion. So he has been good. He's rebounded with 3 wins, including a TKO of Luis Castillo. But at the end of the day, MJ is not going to beat Inoue. The only man that will beat Inoue is if Junto Nakatani, or not if, when Junto Nakatani fight happens next year. That's the only possible fight that could possibly be Inoue, or if Inoue moves up to 126, or possibly even 130. Maybe somebody up there can do it. But if we're at 122 and his name's not Junto Nakatani, Inoue will win the fight for the foreseeable future. Here's the undercard. This is a good one right here. Yoshie Takai will be making his return to the ring against Christopher Medina, WBO bantamweight title fight. Former kickboxing star Takai, 9-0, 8 KOs, defends his WBO bantamweight fight. Who do I win this fight? It's a good performance here. Takai's a southpaw, Medina's pressure fighter, decent chin, but his defense is not very good. For Takai, though, I see him winning by KO between rounds 3 and 5. His speed, power, he should be able to overwhelm Medina very early. This is going to be a great performance by Takai. He should keep his bantamweight title in this fight. For Uni Takanda, he's fighting Matsumoto, vacant WBA regular strawweight title, the lowest weight class in all boxing. This fight title will be on the line tomorrow. For Takanda, he is 12-0, 5 KOs, facing Matsunato, who is 10-1 with 4 KOs for the vacant belt. This is going to be the one that starts the opening card, which will be streamed on Facebook tomorrow. This is going to be an interesting fight. I think both guys are solid. For Takai, I think this is going to Takada. I think this will be by decision. I think his movement volume should edge a competitive tactical fight. I think it will last for a little bit, but I do have Takada coming out winning this fight tomorrow night. Let's go to the chat real quick. See what we've got right here. Mark, let's pull up your comment up on the show. Should be Inoue's best performance in a long time. He's focused. Bingo. 100% agree with you right there. Listen, when we look at a guy like Naoya Inoue, and I've said this so many times before, he has been so far above in terms of talent, pedigree, mentality, everything of anybody else that he could possibly fight. Really, since Stephen Fulton has probably been the last guy that had legitimate hype going into it. Obviously, there's been other solid fights, not to discredit any of his wins, but I think you guys get my point. That was the last time, and even then, Inoue was the favorite to win the fight. It's just Inoue is a different type of beast. You have those types of guys that just are those guys at certain weight classes. Inoue's been that man. And when we talk about this, MJ and Inoue, there's still a massive gap. I don't think MJ is anywhere near the threshold or the caliber of Naoya Inoue. As I just said moments ago, Nakatani is the only man that could possibly do that. However, when you are Inoue, when somebody starts trying to act like he could be a legitimate threat to you, I know that his mentality is unlike anybody else's. And when you start hearing those people chirp those different things out there, yeah, I think it did flip a switch. And that's why he said, and I agree with you, he's locked in, he's focused, he looks in incredible shape. I think he's going to go out there, put on a brilliant performance. My guess is round 7 and 9, we're going to see a knockout of MJ. But it could be earlier. We'll see what happens there. But yes, I do 100% agree with you, Mark. I think this could very well be Inoue's best performance in a long time. He is locked in, and I do see a masterful performance coming from Inoue tomorrow night in Japan. With that being said, I do not see any more comments in the comment section, and that should now conclude the massive preview of all the fights going down. Also, no, there is one more. My apologies, folks. Jacob Bank. I'm not sure if you guys are familiar with him. He is currently ranked in one of the commissioning bodies. He is also headlining a fight this weekend against Tyrone Zekiu. In a performance here, this could get him within the top 7, I think, in the weight class. So that would be an interesting performance. It is not televised, at least as far as I'm aware of. However, I will give you guys an update on who wins that fight on Monday. With that being said, though, enjoy the weekend, folks. As I said in the beginning of the show, there's not many weekends that we have of this magnitude in the sport. Yes, has there been maybe better fights? Would you prefer this fight or that fight over the overall fight we're going to see with Canelo versus Bud Crawford? Sure. But the magnitude of this fight, what it's going to do for boxing, the trending and how massive it is, there's nothing that compares to it this year. The most recent one that compares to it is Mike Tyson, Jake Paul, but that really wasn't really a boxing fight. Let's just be honest. Enjoy the weekend, folks. You're going to have a great card going down in the UK. You're going to then follow that up with an incredible card in Las Vegas at Allegiant Stadium. And if you stay up, for at least on my time zone, you will have MJ and Inoue taking place in Japan. Having that run of a day in boxing is unlike something you can take. And this is something that comes around once in a while. You're going to have 3 of the top 10 pound-for-pound fighters, probably 3 of the top 6 or 7 pound-for-pound fighters in all the world, taking place within a 24-hour time span. Enjoy the weekend, folks. Enjoy the fights. I will be back live Monday to break down all these fights, let you guys know my thoughts on it, and we'll get into that on Monday. Have a phenomenal weekend, you guys. God bless you guys. God bless you guys well, Mark. Hope you guys have a great, blessed weekend. I will see you guys back live on Monday. Enjoy the weekend, folks. And with that being said, SchuZ out. God bless you guys.